All right, my friends, on my way to physical therapy, and I figure I just yap and ramble and gamble, but my arm is hurting, man. I don't know what's going on. I think it might be because I'm mowing, so I'm gonna ask the lady here today, old Rachel, the bane of my existence, the drill sergeant. I got Rachel about it could possibly be. Oh, here are these little kids. Hey, hello, everybody. Oh, you guys so handsome.
Say happy Friday.
Oh. Do you hear that? Is that a dinosaur?
A dinosaur?
The dinosaur? Ah. See you later, alligators.
Bye. After a while, crocodile.
See you. Oh, man. We got some neighbors. They got the cutest kids. This one guy went to tech. He's an Indian from India. Nice guy. And his wife's went to, I think, UGA, nice lady, and they got these 4 kids. Oh my goodness. So there's 2 in double strollers right there, and 2 are probably 4 or 5 now, maybe 3 to 4. Yeah, probably 3 to 4. Oh my goodness, so flippin' cute, man. For any of you guys who haven't are still thinking about kids, like, I don't want to hurt the environment. Man, you gotta look at number one, and little kids, there's nothing better. Oh my goodness. I was driving by yesterday, I did the same thing, or 2 days ago, so I'm walking all 4 of them, and I do that little dinosaur thing that you just heard. They're like, ah, ain't no dinosaur. I was like, yes, I'm a dinosaur. They're like, ah, you not dinosaur. It's funny too, because they're two of them are twins. And the one kid is just rambunctious and active and, just always like, just, I don't know, outgoing. The other kid's kind of reserved. It's just funny how God makes us so different. And like my 2 boys, one of my boys really reserved. I don't want to say shy, but just real reserved. Doesn't got much to say. There's always like these silences and whatnot. It's funny. When I take him to school, he's quiet as a church mouse. Like, dude, you okay? And he's like, I don't say that anymore, but he's just quiet. My other kid just yapping McGee, talking all the time. Dad, this, that. I was like, who? It's like, just literally, they were Irish twins. And that means they're both born in the same calendar year, but they're not twins. So they call that Irish twins. So that's what they are, Calvin and Liam. Calvin was born on January 4th, 2007. And Liam, the doc, because we're doing C-sections, the doc said, you all want to make this in 2008 or you want to make it in 2007? I said, Doc, I'm a financial planner, man. I need my tax credits now. So we had them born in 2000, New Year's Eve, babe. Anyway, so, all right, so I want to talk to you real quick. I had a guy on the YouTube channel. I get this a lot. It's just odd to me. He said, Josh, you're not an economist. You just play one on TV. Why don't you stop talking about, I don't know, what do you say? Stick to stuff you know. And I have that, and I also have people say, you're not a climate scientist. You're not a nutrition scientist. Stick to stuff you know. And I'm like, well, to be perfectly honest, what makes one an economist? A PhD? What makes one a nutritionist? A PhD? Or a medical doctor? What makes one a climate scientist? A PhD? All right, well, I don't have any of those. So I'm certainly not a financial planner either then, right? We call it the appeal to authority. And this is what the polemics against Christianity would be. What we would do is we shouldn't do this, but we would say it's in the Bible. And they say, well, that's, God said it, or it must be, God said it, thus I don't have to debate or something like that. And that's called the appeal to authority. So you're basically removing your need to have a thought process and just say God said it, thus. And that's the appeal to authority. And that's not a good argument, man. It's not. It's you need to have more than just appeal to authority, and that's unfortunately the climate, purveyors of doom, the nutritionists, even the vaccine people are all going to say science says, and thus if you're against or even question it, you're anti-science. And I've never understood A, how it's a good argument, but B, why people even fall. Why the seduction of that argument when we have so much history of science being wrong? That's not to say you're anti-science, to say, I want to dive into this a little bit deeper. I've never understood this appeal to authority. It's weird to me. And I know what it is. It's a technocratic approach. We're just going to turn all of this over to intellectuals and let the intellectuals design a perfect society of utopia and all will be good. And it never works and never will. So going back to this guy with the, you're not an economist. I never said I was. I did study it, have a BA or BS, and it doesn't, but literally that doesn't mean anything. But let's just take this to the natural ramifications. If you don't have a PhD in XYZ, you can't comment on it. So let's go into this. So did you ever serve in the military? No? So you can't comment on military? I mean, it's insane where this goes. Did you ever play NBA basketball? No? So you can't comment on NBA basketball? I mean, just the whole thing is freaking stupid. Why do people get so... You're not an economist, so you should... I mean, dude, you might not like what I say. I don't care. But to say that you're not XYZ because whatever your specifications are on who can be qualified to comment on that, it's nuts. It's nuts. My goodness, man. Was Newton, did he have a PhD in science? I mean, it's crazy. Of all the things that we've been blessed with basically due to serendipity, how many of these people has had a PhD or whatever it is your classification is? And they said, well, that didn't work, but I did discover this over here. The whole thing is nuts, and I don't understand why these people need to feel the need to say and look, I could care less. I'm going to comment whatever the hell I want to comment on. You don't have to agree with it. I don't care. But I beg people. I mean, these people are probably so far gone, they're not going to be convinced. They'll say, oh, these people studied it. Do you know what the textbooks of economics still say? Just to give you an example of how insane this is. Do you know what they say? They're still teaching crap like the Phillips curve. Now, it's been 25 years since I actually was taking a course in economics, but I read a lot of economic literature. They still talk about the Phillips curve. Phillips curve, low unemployment, high inflation. We know this to be insanity now. We know it. But yet, that's what the textbooks still say. Why would what did the textbooks say about climate change back in the 70s? We know for a fact they talk about global cooling. We know that. We know that. What did the textbooks say about finance back in the old days, about economics, about population? The textbooks said crap that we have since disproven and say that doesn't apply anymore. Paul Ehrlich, the population bomb, he is still a huge prof, well-renowned, and he should not be, but yet he is. And what did he say? His students were taught that there are too many people and we're all going to starve to death, and we now know that's not true. What did what's his name? I'm drawing a blank now. The climate, I'm drawing a blank, but we got Paul Ehrlich. We got the other, I'm just drawing a blank. But what did the textbooks say about all kinds of different things in the science, the literature, the economic departments, the English departments? Oh, that was Chomsky. Chomsky's textbooks used to say the universal grammar thing was literally, it was a gene. We had a gene for language. And yet that has now since, we can challenge that to some degree. Now, am I a linguist by PhD? No. Do I want to be a linguist by PhD? No. However, we know for a fact that for me to say, I can't talk about this because I don't have a PhD in linguistics, doesn't matter. We know that what used to be is no more, if that makes sense. Even Chomsky says this. I mean, my God, the universal grammar thing. But you don't have a PhD in linguistics. You shouldn't talk about it. Why would you not want to be curious and say, In fact, do you ever think, maybe, and this is where financial planning has been blessed with a lot of guys that come in from engineering and other aspects who've incredibly enhanced our profession because they come in from the outside looking in. They say, wait a second, this Monte Carlo approach doesn't make sense because XYZ. You're right. The 4% rule doesn't make sense because XYZ. You're right. A lot of these guys come in, or ladies, that come in from a different perspective. We got a lot of medical doctors who come in the financial planning realm and kick butt and take names. Now, I don't necessarily agree with all that stuff. It doesn't matter what I agree with. It matters that they're adding to the debate. I don't even want to debate, but the structure of financial discourse. And I think it's great. But to say you have, so I just asked this guy, I don't have a PhD in financial planning. I do have a master's degree. Is that enough for you? That I could talk financial planning because I have a master's degree? What exactly is it where I could talk about economics? We have to be engaged in it during as a professional. What does that mean? I am absolutely engaged in economics as a professional. Financial planning is built on economics without question. So what is it? But are you engaged in economics as a professional, but you don't have a PhD? So that would be valid to be able to discuss economics? I mean, where does this stop? What is it that would allow you to allow me to talk about economics? Would it be my CV, my pedigree? Would it be my professional? Just you, or I just agree with you? I mean, that was probably what it'd be. I agree with you, thus I can talk about this thing. It's scary. So anyway, look out for the technocrats. The technocrats are scary because they think you pull a lever here, this will happen. That's never how human beings work, man. You can't pull levers to control human beings. They want to, but see, notice they pull a lever here. Well, what if that doesn't work? What if I don't abide? What if I don't obey? And that's where socialism, basically the rule of law, the rule of technocrats, always falls in. Because if I don't obey, what happens to me? You get thrown to the wolves. You put you up against the wall because you're supposed to do this because we said do that. I don't want to. But we have the answers. We're the intellectuals. We're the technocrats. I don't abide by that because I don't believe you know any more than I do. In fact, I'd even argue, and rightly so, you don't know more how I need to live my life. You don't. We know this. Inherently it makes sense. You don't know how I should live my life. You might think you do because you have a PhD in whatever stupid study you have. I know how to live my life better, and just because you think it might not be rational, doesn't matter. I am me, I dictate my terms, and thus I will forever, ever, ever, ever not fall for the allure of technocrats, intellectual appeals to authority. No, not here, man. So if you're on this channel, I will talk about whatever I want to talk about. I will talk about how Bill Belichick should not freaking run on 2nd and 10 when he had an incomplete pass on 1st and 10, and he'll run a draw play. He'll get 2 yards, and then he'll pass on. He'll always have a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, and only thankfully does he have a guy like Julian Edelman who can break tackles. Is he able to convert third and longs more often than most NFL teams? That's not good. But Josh, you never played the sport. Well, you never played the NFL. Well, Bill Belichick didn't either, and yet he's got the most Super Bowl rings of anybody. Well, how can you criticize Bill Belichick when he's got more Super Bowl rings? Because he gets lucky. That's a lot. Whoa! He gets lucky. What is that guy honking? There's nothing going on up there, dude. It's like we're living in that back in New Jersey. Because Bill Belichick, he never played either, at least in the NFL that I'm aware of. And even if he did play in the NFL, so what? Mike Singletary played in the NFL. He hasn't been a successful coach for the 49ers or even the AAF. And Mike Singletary is probably the best middle linebacker ever, even better than Dick Butkus. So there you go. But yet Sean Payton, did he play in the NFL? He's a pretty good coach. I can't stand him. But that's the whole point. The whole point is that people coming from the outside, they actually bring a different perspective than other people do that needs to be looked at. But they did a study under Noam Chomsky. That's all I got. All right, I'm heading off to PT. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Tom.